Hi everybody, it's Annette from The Art of Intuition, and today we are going to talk about body alterations, and we're going to talk a little bit about how that stuff starts to change. We'll get into some body piercings, we can talk a little bit about tattoos, just about everything. So this is actually a request I got, and it was a really good one. So I'm like Casey Kasem, I guess. I do take requests. I can usually twist everything. Twist it, unravel it, and then we can talk about it from a different perspective and different consciousness space. So, body alterations and what is going on there. So, I'm going to take this from a couple of different angles. I personally do have breast implants, so I can talk about some parts about that. So I'm going to start there, and then we're going to go a little bit about metal piercings, and I'll probably talk a little bit about tattoos at the end. But I do want to talk about that now, and probably maybe bring in the metal now. A lot of people will say that when you're conscious, you don't do that stuff. You get really detached from the body. We don't care what the body looks like. It doesn't matter to us, right? Now, I can speak to that is true from a lot of different perspectives. Now, I did have my implants put in way before I went through my awakening, right? Now, that's true and technically not true because we're always awaking. From the minute we're born, we're trying to wake up. We're trying to get out of we're trying to get out of the human realities. We get lulled back in and we go in and out. I had gone through a lot of body clearing, a lot of not feeling well, pretty much in my 20s, quite a bit. So I was already trying to wake up, but it wasn't my time yet, so I kind of went through some of that and then kind of went back to sleep for a while. Now, there is a part of the process where we are very into our bodies, in the beginning. In the beginning of, it kind of parallels the human realities where we're really into our body. We'll start to go to the gym a lot. We start to watch what we eat, and that's kind of can be a part of the ascension process, right? And really caring about that stuff and wanting to just love our body. Now, I will say that when we're talking about anything, on why you do anything, whether we're talking about tattoos, body piercings, any type of cosmetic stuff, we do want to look at the energy behind why you do it. And that's anything. But this particularly, what is the energy behind why you want to do it? I know for me, that is just what I wanted to do. I thought the way they looked after surgery, I really enjoyed that, how they looked, and I'm like, oh, I really like that, and I had a better body image. Now, that is still from a very human consciousness, right? I was still very much in my human consciousness when I would say that, So there is a part of the process where you're going to do things in your human consciousness, but it will raise your vibration because you feel better about yourself, okay? So a lot of stuff we did prior to awakening, prior to ascension, we kind of go back and want to judge a lot of that stuff, and sometimes we'll have judgment from others, but I've said this before, it's still our judgment. If we are allowing any judgment and we feel anything on that, it's just our judgment to not want to talk about it, to not want to address it. So what you're going to find is a lot of that stuff, whether it was metal piercings, whether it's tattoos, whether you just had surgery and had to get, metal put in your body for some reason, screws in your ankle, or metal in, I know they put screws in their ankle. Okay, sorry about that. I lost my light and I'm filming and it's nighttime, so I kind of need a little bit of light. I don't remember where I was. I'm gonna splice this, which I normally don't do, so apologies, and we'll continue. Also took my hair down. Okay, so a lot of stuff we'll do prior to our awakening, prior to our ascension, and then we're like, well, how does that fit in? Why did I do that? And we get into insecurities. We get into the 3D value system, and you can say you were doing all that. I know I was probably doing all that. I was feeding into all that stuff. What are you supposed to look like? How are you supposed to feel about how you look? And it's important to remember that everything we do in that consciousness, we didn't know any better. That's just what we did. Now, when you start getting into what happens after, what do we do now? Now that I have implants, or now that I have 7 tattoos that don't really, represent who I am anymore, because you're kind of a different person. You're a different person before your awakening, you're a different person during your awakening, you're a different person in different parts of ascension. I can speak to the implants and how I feel about those now. I can't speak to tattoos. I don't have any in that sense, but I kind of have an idea probably how that would go. Metal, I've heard other people talk about metal, different piercings. I don't have any piercings, but I do know that people who do have them, there are certain parts of their ascension process where they have to remove the metal because it bothers them. And I know for me, like I can't wear watches, I can't be around different parts of my process, I can't be around a lot of electrical equipment. One, our energy fields can set them off and they won't really work right. I know when I first got in this house, I kept setting off the alarm. The alarm system kept going off. I was like, what's going on? Why is it going off? And I'm like, oh, I don't know. It's kind of weird, huh? I don't know why that keeps going off. So there are parts of the process where that stuff has to come out. You know, the metal will have to be removed if it can be, right? And then there are different things, that stuff that's inside the body that you have to really kind of go inside and look at that. And really look at, how do I feel about this stuff? Because some of this stuff can ascend with us, and we're talking about body ascension. So when your body's going through ascension, there's certain parts of the process where these things will ascend with you. They're not hampering your process. Because I know we talk a lot about getting our body clean and having our body at a certain vibration. The body's vibration has to raise. And well, how can it raise? If you have implants in, or if you have metal in your body, or any of this stuff. For me, I had the sight to see that what I had done was going with me. You know, like right now, it was not hampering my process. It was not. They were ascending, their vibration was raising. As my body vibration raised, they were able to accommodate that. They were not hampering that. Now, but I also knew that that was not going to be forever. There will be a point where they very well could start, and I can see that on the horizon. That in so many years down the road, there is going to be a part where they could start hampering it, and then they will have to be removed. And the same thing for other things going on in the body. A lot of people who had pacemakers and stuff put in, and these types of things, because the energy hitting the earth, their ascension process, is making their heart look like it needed a pacemaker when really it was just ascension. So a lot of that stuff, you really have to go in deep and look at how you feel about it. And when we talk about body image now and how we do get very detached from the body. I can say I don't kind of feel the same way. But we do have a love for our body, but we don't have a love for our body in a manipulation way. The love for our body comes from a different place than it did for me 10 years ago. It comes from a place of being grateful that it can do our journey, that all the work it's trying to do, how it's morphing, how it's changing, how my DNA is rewriting, how everything's different. Technically the air we breathe is different because in a different reality, the air is different. What we see is different. How everything's inside out. Our matrix is inside the body. I always talk about I look around my energy field, but all the information is inside. It's projected outside, so I'll look at it, but it's still all inside knowledge that we all have. So look at why you did it, but don't judge why you did anything. Like even when we're talking about different tattoos, people might have gotten, and they might decide, they want to get rid of them. Sometimes they might decide that they don't. It's going to really depend on if you feel like it's hampering what you're. Oh, hold on. I'm gonna have to cut that out too. And the cat decided to join today too. This is going to be a very much together video. And if you're in a place now where you're looking at doing anything, and just look at the energy behind it. That's the best advice I can give. And remember, people speak our thoughts back to us. If we don't hold judgment, people can't judge us. If someone says something to us about anything, and it's something that tinges you, they're supposed to say that. That was their contract to say that to you. They said that to you so you could see where you still held that within you, where you still believed that inside, where you still felt that way. And if they hadn't said that, you'd never know you felt that way. You'd be like, oh, I didn't know I even felt that way, but I do feel that way. That's so weird. I didn't realize that I felt that way. That's their purpose of doing that. So be grateful when they do that, because that's what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to kind of make us see certain things. They're supposed to make us understand certain things. But there's definitely a difference, and you're going to see a difference of how you used to look at your body, how you used to look at how other people perceived, but it's all really more how we perceived it. Because I will say, people don't see you the same way you see yourself, and that starts to morph more and more and more and more as we go through Ascension, because people don't see you the same way. I would have this discussion with many people where one person sees you one way, the next person sees you a totally different way. I had a girlfriend that would describe it as, you see with love eyes. When she was, I was very human, kind of in a human consciousness in a sense. Whereas when you're in love with the person, you don't see them the same way somebody else does. You see them very differently. And there's a sense to that. Everyone's going to see you a different way. No one's going to describe you the same way. No, everyone sees you a little differently. You're going to look a little different to them. They're going to they're going to see a different aspect of you. You're not going to be represented the same with everybody. So there's really nothing to try to explore or try to go up to anymore. It gets tougher and tougher. And I just did another video on this about how we value, your value system changes, and what we look for in people. I don't really care about what people look like. I care about the consciousness of the person. That's what's more important to me. Because I can't base a reality on unconsciousness. I can't do that. I won't do that. I won't compromise on that level. So that's important. And other things aren't important. So what human consciousness, what we would have valued when we were, and when I say human consciousness, when that's the part of you that was making the decision. When you're human conscious, when your ego was making the choices. And if you haven't gone through your awakening and your ascension, and even still when you're in different parts of your ascension, that's what's making the choices for you. And when that's what's making the choices for you, then you're in a different value. You're in a different belief system. So your belief systems will change. But we can't judge what we did. Just like we can't judge what we did to our body, we can't judge, different roles we played in those realities either, because technically we didn't know any better. Now, when you know better, and you can look and go, okay, what is the energy behind why I want to do that? And you can take that into anything, not just what you do to your body. Because there is a part of the process where the body has to get very, very clean, and the body has to go through a cleansing process. Can what you did to your body prior to, your awakening or ascension process, is that going to hamper you? Most of the time, I feel like it'll be something that you can deal with, or it would not have been allowed to take place. Because even though we're still in our human consciousness, we are also, our soul is leading the journey. Like everything we did in a human consciousness, we did for a reason that would have a different purpose later on. The sign we're born into, our zodiac sign has a purpose for stuff we have to do later on. So everything will. So just be aware of that, and don't judge what you did before, because it really doesn't matter. Nobody cares. That I think I did a video on that a long time ago. Nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. We keep the old stuff going. But really look deep inside. Really look deep inside on why you want to do something. Really look deep inside on, do you still judge yourself for stuff you did? And whether that's the situations you played in, which technically we were supposed to. Technically we showed up to play a role, and that was the role we had, whether we were the total bitch and villain, or whether we played, the protagonist in the story. Our human's always going to want to put a good and a bad on it, because that's what a human consciousness does. There has to be it has to be a victim, has to be someone responsible. That's how it works, because the human always wants to shift blame. Like, I did it because of this, or I did it because of that. You did it because you did it. You were supposed to do it that way. So later on, we might feel like we have a lot to clean up. And in a sense, we do have a lot to clean up, because everything we created when we're leaving these realities is corrupt. And it does take us a while to clean that stuff up. But okay, I think that kind of covers it. Hopefully that does. Keep practicing the art of intuition.